Take two. Restream owes me a refund after that one. I don't know what happened to the server crash for some reason, but you'll see that building back there. That's where my studio is. It's obviously a metal building, and Wi-Fi has been a bit of an issue. It handicaps my ability to do anything, but especially as creative as I want to be for y'all, it just it's not in the cards back there right now. So we're gonna have to come up with a solution. But for right now, this will do. The audio isn't quite as good, but we won't drop frames and we won't drop uh, audio from up here. The upload speed is about 300 relative to down there where it's about 2. So it is what it is. But Cowboys Q&A nonetheless. I know there's polarizing things to discuss right now. Some of you may or may not have already caught the live last night. If you didn't, the most passionate and contextualized version of everything I'm about to say right now, when everything is fresh and hot, it's in yesterday's live stream. Fast forward to about the 40-minute mark, and then you should, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But hit the like button on the way in right now so that we can continue expanding this platform. We're trying to get to 10K before season's end, and I think that we can do that. I'll do my part so long as you guys keep doing yours. But questions that you got for me right now, let me know. And we'll start with, let me make sure we're live on the Twitter side of things. Let's just fire one of these off to get some more people up in here so you guys know. Half of you are probably driving home from work right now anyway, so. Here we go. Hit that like button on the way in, and then send me your questions. Let's talk about it all. I hope it makes sense when I say things like Eberflus is wasting a good offense. Yeah, no doubt. So that's where the discussion begins, because we're not having this discussion if we don't know what we know about the other side of the ball. So where I'm confused, and maybe somebody help talk me into it or out of it, whatever the case. Let the dumpster fire burn and hold on to the picks. See, okay, perfect segue, Cruz. That's where I'm getting to. Dallas needs to bring in Reek Woolen. So I see Nate is still singing the same song that I'm singing right now, and I respect that. But the thing for me, okay, after yesterday's performance, the discussion and the narrative becomes hold on to the picks because this season cannot be saved because of how bad the defense is. All right, so save your picks and don't go get a proven commodity, because one or two proven commodities can't help. But why? So if that's the case, then how in the world do we expect one or two unproven rookie commodities in the draft to be any different? Do you see the disconnect there? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, like an example. Give an example of someone who didn't pan out that we dropped.
Mozzie Smith, Taco Charlton, Tyler Guyton, who is still rapidly ascending, I believe. But that's another point, okay? It's not so much as, hey, these guys are going to bust. You can't ever guarantee who's going to do what necessarily. But even if you could, each learning curve, each window, each coming of age happens at a different time frame, right? So yeah, the Cowboys have 4 first-round picks, more than any other team. The second most cap space right now. We've said all those things. We know that. But what do those picks do for you if by the time those picks are ready to actually contribute, it's time to re-up or cut people? Like all these extensions that you've got lined up on the same window, Dak, CD, Ferg, Shoddy, Tyler Smith, inevitably, Oso Digizua, right? All these different pieces, Deron Bland. It's a 4-year window. By the time 2026 rookie first round pick times 2 is ready to contribute because this offense isn't gonna allow you to draft where some of y'all want to be drafting to have the best your choice at whichever the most impactful player is going to be at either edge, corner, backer, whatever the case. Dak's not going to let you draft in the top 5, guys. I'm sorry. So kiss that goodbye. But then guess what? Micah Parsons, Jordan Love and company, they're not going to let that pick be within picks 1 through 28. The Packers pick is going to be somewhere between 28 and 32. Almost book it. So if Max Crosby, Minka Fitzpatrick, Demario Davis, Tariq Woolen, Jeffrey Simmons, Quinnen Williams, we don't even have to talk about spending draft capital. We can say, hey, Eric Kendricks and Stephon Gilmore, did those guys make you better? Probably. Is Stephon Gilmore at the ripe age of 35 years old or however old he is at this point in his career better than the handful of undrafted free agents we're rolling out yesterday in Denver? You bet. Especially if we're asking guys to communicate and play drop 8 zone coverage when they clearly can't do that because there's no continuity, but there's also no pressure. So it's not just one guy. And so, okay, that's the next point that I want to make and reiterate. I'm told one guy can't save this defense. First and foremost, we're not talking about just one guy because I just laid out a handful of scenarios to which you can get 2 tier 1 or tier 2 players on the trade market. You got 2 guys coming back that you've been waiting for all season in DeMarvin Overshown and Savon Revel Jr. And then you could go and sign 2 guys that have familiarity with your front office, with the organization, who have already been productive for you in recent history. Stephon Gilmore, Eric Kendricks. So it's not just one guy. Right? But even if it were, Micah Parsons, his EPA per play during his tenure in Dallas, the Cowboys are the number 1 EPA per play defense. When he's out, they're 32nd. So one player clearly can be enough, especially if it's a guy of that caliber. Max Crosby is that caliber. Jeff Simmons, I believe, has that can make an impact similar to that, especially if that's taking Oso Digizua off the field on earlier downs. And then he can go and do what he does best, which is penetrate and get after the quarterback as an undersized 3-tech. Kenny Clark is all of a sudden spelled a little bit more frequently, and he doesn't have to try to be the only anchor on your defense whenever he's not really wired that way. He can play that way. He's your best interior run defender, but that's even not his strong suit. He's also banged up. Justin Simmons is another free agent. There you go. I mean, the list goes on. Jermaine Johnson has familiarity with Aaron Whitecotton, but if I'm a betting man, Nate, I'm saying I bet Jermaine Johnson is probably going to end up in San Fran with Robert Saleh. That'd be my guess. Okay, let's see what Juan is saying over here. And let me know if I'm not making sense or if anything else needs clarification, because I'll be happy to do so. I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now, but it's a loaded discussion for me because of how polarized the fan base seems to be. But most people seem to say that it's time to keep the picks. When keeping the picks, so keeping the picks versus spending the picks, buying versus selling, one of those is quitting on an offense that we already know is good, with an offensive line coach and coordinator, if you will, Clayton Adams, who may or may not be here next year, with George Pickens, who's not under a long-term extension. Cowboys have contractual control because they could franchise tag him in theory. But Javonte Williams is on an expiring contract. This group, there's no guarantee that you get the same production or the same players next season. Okay? But why are we pretending that proven veteran commodities can't contribute past this year too, even if this defense is unsalvageable? Insert player X on the trade market here. That guy can't play for me next year and the year after? Why does this season being a wash eliminate going and getting a dude from the equation? You see what I'm saying? Bingo. Look at you, Black Ops. We was 3-5 when we spent for Amari who made the playoffs off him alone. So why not do it again? That's another question or another point. Great point. I don't remember what the record was, but I'll take your word for it. There it was something along those lines. Because I think that was the Allen Hearns, Cole Beasley. Who was another? Was Bryce Butler on that roster at the time? Terrence Williams, I think, was still there. Yeah, that was rough. But Cowboys are 3-4-1 currently. I said this yesterday. That's almost 500. Do we realize how many losses the Giants had in their seasons when Eli Manning was a two-time, like both of his Super Bowl runs, Super Bowl victories? Do we know what the Giants' record was those years? The Cowboys would still have to lose 3 or 4 more games to reach the amount of losses that those Super Bowl championship teams had in those 2 seasons. And it's not to suggest that this Cowboys team is going anywhere relative to that. Don't twist the words. But the point is that it's far from over. And when you have a unit, albeit as bad as the defense currently is, but you've got one that you know is as good as the offense currently is, why give up on it now when you're only 3-4-1, about to play the the freaking Cardinals, who, you know, anybody can beat this Cowboys team, but it's the Cardinals. And then you get a bye week to figure things out, maybe fire a coordinator, bring a few guys in, and then you go and beat the Raiders, who are a dumpster fire in their own right. All of a sudden, if you take care of business at home on Monday night, you beat a team that has no business trying to win anymore, probably, largely actively tanking, or inactively tanking. Going to be drafting a quarterback in the top 5 next year, most likely. The Raiders, that is. If all of a sudden you're 5-4-1, staring a date with the Eagles the following week, right in the face, at home. Should have beat them the first time, but we know Dak's record against that team. We know how divisional games work, especially again between those two, Cowboys, Eagles. We know they're competitive. Needless to say, that's a winnable game in its own right. Nothing is a guarantee. You don't just auto lock an L there. If you're 5-4-1 with a date with the Eagles on deck, you telling me right now you're quitting? You're giving up on Dak, on that offense that I know for a fact right now is not going to give up on you. With still half a season to play, the Steelers, they got problems too. They're 4-3 now. Their defense is giving up 35 every time we turn around as well. Should they give up? Are they sellers at the deadline? That's a it's a one-loss difference between the Cowboys and the Steelers right now. You think the Ravens are going to be trading anybody? Nope. They play on Thursday night with a chance that'll be their second consecutive win in a row. Their MVP's coming back. You think they think they're done at 2-5? No, sir. I don't care what Kyler's record is at AT&T Stadium. Honestly, I really don't. Because if history guarantees the future, then why play the games anyway? What's the point? There's no market for Mozzie as it presently sits. No, sir. What's up, Isaac? I see you, man. Sorry, I was ranting. Didn't catch you right when you walked up in here. The Steelers have coaching. So do the Ravens. Okay, so help me understand. Do we not call it coaching when the Cowboys can go on the road with 4/5 of their offensive line missing and still operate as if they're a well-oiled machine? Is that not offensive coaching? Clayton Adams, that everybody was raving about 2 weeks ago, who may or may very likely may not be here next year because of his reputation, his history. Everywhere he goes, he has highly successful rushing attacks. Is that not coaching? The point is, one side of the ball is an issue right now, but the other is a significant success, and you should do something about it. And even if it flops, the coordinator doesn't have to stick around. You can make that change because the bye week is on deck too. That's when you do all the self-scout and all the introspection, looking at yourself, evaluating things in totality. We can make wholesale decisions here, drastic changes, regroup, and then hit the home stretch hard. But guys are clearly getting worse. We have players on this roster who are extended, who are valuable assets, veteran caliber players, all pros at that, who look like Jags under this system. There's clearly no belief in it. Jadeveon Clowney, a guy who is known for relentless effort, especially like in backside pursuit. I'm watching the second drive of the game. I think it was the 7th play. There's the touchdown run from RJ Harvey. Creased up the left side. Sam Williams doesn't set the edge. He gets sealed off on a down block by a receiver that he outweighs by 50 pounds. I'm seeing Jadeveon Clowney, who's a veteran in this league, who signs for anywhere between $6 and $10 million every other year because of his effort and his prowess in the run game. He's jogging from the backside. I know the air's thin up there, guys, but this isn't like we're talking about the fourth quarter and they gave up. This is the second possession, the 7th play of the game. I'm seeing Shamar James get out the club. I'm watching Kenneth Murray. He ain't tackling. He's tickling. He's tickling people 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage that way. Patty cake. This stuff. Don't believe me? Google NFL Plus Pro, create an account, pay $15, and go watch it for yourself. Or subscribe here, and I'll show you. What is the effort? You think DeMarvion Overshown isn't going to make a difference when he and Maris Leofau? I don't know who's green dot because Demo wasn't green dot last year. Can he do that now? I don't know. That's asking a lot. But assuming he could, or maybe you finally make the switch. Maybe whoever is the incumbent coordinator or signal caller on the sideline is comfortable pulling Kenneth Murray off the field. If Jack Sanborn is going to be slow, like physically he can't do it, at least he's going to give me 110%, and I'll live and die with that. Maniacal effort can make a massive difference for this defense. And DeMarvion Overshown is a guy who that's what he's known for. Maris Leofau is a guy who that's what he's known for. Yet I love Shamar James. He packs a punch when he hits. He's at least going to fly around and hit people. But he just doesn't know what he's seeing. Maris Leofau makes you feel him when he hits you because of the effort. It's relentless. That's how DeMarvion Overshown plays. That's what Perion Winfrey is known for. I told you guys I was in camp. I watched this guy not even so much as crack a smile, say a word, or unbuckle his chin strap when he walks over to all these 13-year-old kids looking up at him. I mean, he might as well have been Reggie White. But he didn't care who knew his last name or what he looked like. The energy that he carries himself with, even when he's signing autographs for children, it's all business with that guy. Violent. That's Perion Winfrey. Zion Childress, who it was news to me. My son was born last week, and so I missed his reacquisition. But that's a guy that I had a YouTube project about, dedicated specifically to him, 8 or 10 minutes or so, whatever it was. The most impactful Dallas Cowboy you've never heard of. Because a 190-pound nickel is crashing A gaps and flying, like knocking people's blocks off that he has no business even moving backwards because he's outweighed. But the effort, the pad level, the relentless energy wins. That's what won in week 1 for the Cowboys when they should have beaten the Eagles, were it not for an all-pro dropping a couple basket catches. Just bread basket right here. Different outcome. Because the front 7, really the front 8, goes an 8-man box for most of that game because of the nature of who the Eagles are offensively. But it was effort, pad level, and sound run responsibility. Give me Zion. I'll take 11 Zion Childresses if I can guarantee that I'm going to at least get effort every single time he's on the field. That's what I know I'm getting from Deron Bland, from Perrion. Honestly, Kenny and Osa are doing their best. They really are. But Solomon Thomas, by the way, is a guy that we need to start having discussions about. That's a difference maker because of pad level and effort. His get off is different. And he wins with the gnashing of his teeth. You know, that's why Perrion Winfrey made the team. I don't know what his status is. I got to check on that. James Houston will set an edge better than some of the guys that I'm seeing on the field that are playing more snaps than he is. Maybe the incumbent coordinator will make those decisions, and it's addition by subtraction. So it's not just one player. It's a multitude of decisions, but then it's also a philosophical approach. When I go weeks 1 through 6, I'm playing man coverage at an average of 11% rate. Week 7, all of a sudden, I look like a completely different unit because that number jumps from 11% to 47%. Man coverage equals more dialing up pressure. Like when I can't get home with 4, I have to figure out ways to get home with 5, 6, or 7. And I have to die that way. If I'm dying playing backwards anyways, I might as well die attacking. Do we realize an explosive play was given up on every 4th play in that game yesterday? Historically bad is now underselling what this defense is. It's not saying enough. We got to find other adjectives now to describe what we're watching. Donovan Ezra, great call. Thank you, Spot Jake. I spotted Jake in the chat. I wish I had my soundboard. I'd hit you a drop for that one. That's a great point. Him and Dante Fowler, man, I talked about it, I think it was 2.5 weeks ago. It was just before the Commanders game. Their charts, their pass rush win rate, the time to pressure and the pressure rate. So it was like time to pressure was the x-axis, pressure rate was the y-axis. Very few people in this league are winning faster than Dante Fowler was. Very few people in this league are winning faster and more often than Donovan Ezra was. That's a guy that I'll go to war with too. You're absolutely right about that call. The play calling is yeah. I mean, dude, punting the football when they did. I'm not breaking news, y'all. We all think the same thing. To punt the football is to entrust that defense who has given you nothing through 8 games to suggest that they can come up with the timely stop. We're trusting that team that was giving up 9 yards per carry at the time to get off the field. That's questionable to say the least. That's a dumb decision. 3rd and 1, the attempt where it was Jonathan Cooper, I believe, that made the incredible heads-up play. Tony Romo actually highlighted it on the broadcast. But he saw the set from Tyler Guyton. He knew it wasn't a pass set. That means the ball's coming out quick. They're trying to get him in space and climbing. Ball out. He adjusts, reads, and gets ready to jump and time that up. Fantastic play, man. That's an IQ play. They won with IQ right there. But why are we throwing it on 3rd and 1 anyways? When I've got Javonte Williams, who's known for power and pad level. I brought it to this channel before the first game of the season. It's going to work because of how I know the front three play, the people movers, the forklifts, the interior three, the power players for the Cowboys, right? Shoddy's emphasis on physicality and pad level, and then Clayton Adams' history having success catering to his offensive lineman's strengths. Read that thing like a book, man. Javonte Williams has the third most yards entering yesterday's game. So through 7 weeks of any Dallas Cowboys running back in franchise history. But 3rd and 1, we want to get cute. Too early in the game, I still haven't gone back and tracked it, like when the Cowboys technically abandoned the run. It felt like in real time it was too soon. But you felt the stress. Why wouldn't the offense be stressed? Stressed into perfection, stressed into trying to be perfect. Because they are sitting over there on the sideline watching the effort or the lack thereof, watching 9 yards per carry, more than double the league average in any given year. It's a first down every time you hand the football off. Are you kidding me? But it's Dak's fault for trying to be aggressive and make a big play happen. Come on, man. Yes. Look at you, Black Ops. I see you, man. That's true. That's true. I actually had that clip. I had that clip clipped. I don't know where it's at in my camera roll now. I'm not going to waste time trying to go find it, but yes. And that's the objective for every coach is going to talk about that, right? Every offensive coordinator wants that. Every quarterback is better when that's the case, obviously. Procedural penalties on the goal line in the opening drive. The Cowboys not punching it in and getting 7 when they should have had 7. That was tough, right? And then the following defensive possession, the ensuing defensive possession just after that, they were about to get off the field for the 2nd possession in a row to start that game. We got interception to Tracrez Bridges, who did nothing. He was beat on the route, but Bo Nix threw it behind him, and it just went right into his, hey, here's a gift. Boom. Thank you, Bo. And Bo, by the way, is a guy who's known to put the ball in harm's way. He's a guy who's known not to stretch the field. And all of a sudden, he's doubling up his ADOT on the season in that game because we're sagging off. We're playing passive. We're trying to play bend but don't break when we break anyway, and everybody knows it, including the Broncos. Everyone except for Eberflus. The Cowboys were about to get off the field for the 2nd possession in a row. James Houston lines up offsides. God bless him. And that's not an indictment. I just sat here and told y'all I want James Houston on the field as often as I can get it, setting the edge. He ain't just a pass rush specialist. All right. But that kept that drive alive. 2 plays later, it's 6 up the sideline for RJ Harvey. And then it was just downhill from there for the Cowboys. But you know what? Had Tyler Guyton, whoever else it was, I know it was a couple different dudes that jumped off sides on that procedural play. That was 3rd and 1 on the goal line, right? Made it 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, whatever the case. Okay, we settle for 3. Ensuing defensive possession, get a stop, but it's nullified by oh gosh, I can't even think of the word. Neutral zone infraction from James Houston. Even if those 2 things don't happen, the effort that I saw, it was not going to matter. Because the defense is playing patty cake. They're tickling instead of tackling. So, yeah. Pardon me. Pardon the offense. Pardon the quarterback for trying to make a play when he's sitting there watching his JV squad play patty cake backwards for the entire first half. Pardon him. Excuse him. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just remembered I have to go take my daughter to gymnastics. So thank you guys for watching. Hit your like button on the way out if you haven't already. I appreciate y'all tuning in with me. The Cowboys should absolutely not be holders or sellers right now because proven commodities can contribute for you, if not for this year, or not just for this year, but next year as well. Take the guaranteed product. Don't quit on this offense, but also don't quit on next year too. Don't wait. Why are we waiting? Why are we passive? We've been passive for how long now? 30 plus years and counting? What's that done for you? Do something a little different. Keep calling. Maybe, just maybe, we can have some fun.